She confessed to the wrong guy who turned out to be the millionaire boss. Now she's trapped in love. It was the kind of confession that could shatter worlds. The bar was dimly lit, whispering secrets through slivers of smoke. Emily, nervous and trembling, took a deep breath. Her heart pounded like a war drum as she turned to the man beside her, the enigmatic Julian Hawthorne. The first strange thing? He hardly looked the part of a boss. Clad in a tattered leather jacket, with tousled hair that seemed to defy gravity, he was everything she didn't expect. Yet those piercing blue eyes held secrets bigger than she could comprehend. She had poured her heart out, sharing pieces of herself like dropping coins into a fountain, wishing for something magical. But, instead of a light-hearted banter, the air grew heavy with a thick tension. The room fell silent. Conversations froze mid-sentence as eyes darted toward their corner. The bar's neon lights flickered ominously, leaving shadows dancing across their faces. What had she done? Her confession lingered in the air, dark and suffocating. Emily felt a lump in her throat. She wanted to recapture her words, shove them back down like a faulty bottle rocket. But it was too late. She told him she loved him. Not just a crush or infatuation, real, unfiltered love. And the way he leaned back, a smirk creeping onto his lips, left her insides twisting. Did you just say, love? Julian's voice chilled the very air between them. It felt like ice water splashing her face after she had let passion spill. The other patrons at the bar took notice, eyes widening in collective fascination. Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Julian's expression shifted. Gone was the playful smirk, replaced by a calculated gaze. Time stood still. This wasn't just flirting anymore, it felt like walking a tightrope over a chasm. The intensity hung thick in the air. Emily's breath hitched. She realized she was trapped. Would this day be a beautiful beginning, or a terrifying end? The room filled with an eerie silence, interrupted only by the clink of glasses as someone dropped theirs, voice low and quavering. Did she really just confess to him? A chill ran down her spine. She was wrapped up in a game she didn't know the rules of. Suddenly, Julian stood up, his presence looming. The way his jaw tightened left her wondering what he was really thinking. Would he throw her heart back at her like a worn-out toy, or could this spark something new? She felt a shift in the air, a subtle hint that their lives were about to change forever. What was he going to say? Emily's heart raced as she stared up at Julian, the words trapped in her throat. The once rowdy bar had morphed into a theater of silence, every eye on them, every breath held. She felt exposed, raw like a fish out of water, gasping for air. Julian's blue eyes bore into her, searching for something she didn't even know she had to offer. A flicker of conflict crossed his face. Did he feel it too? The tension electrified the space between them. The world outside blurred into nothingness. All that existed were the two of them and the weight of that confession. You shouldn't have said that, he finally said, his voice low, almost angry. The words were like a dagger, twisting in her gut. Then why didn't you stop me? She shot back, defiance rising in her like a tide. It was reckless, yes, but her feelings had surged up uncontrollably, and she wouldn't allow him to take the authority to diminish them. Just then, a sudden shout from the other side of the bar drew their attention. A couple had erupted into a heated argument, their voices drowning in a blend of indignation and hurt. The bar's patrons shifted their focus momentarily, an unfortunate distraction in Emily's most vulnerable moment. See? Even they don't care about us, Julian scoffed, a bitter edge slicing through his tone. A stab of hurt spurred Emily into action. You think this is a joke? You think love can just be brushed aside like some cheap mistake? His eyes narrowed. Emily, love doesn't come without consequences. Understand that. The intensity of his gaze sent a shiver coursing through her, mixing uncertainty with a hint of excitement she couldn't fully comprehend. It overwhelmed her, pushing her to take a step closer. But I don't want to walk away. She yelled over the clamor, panic rising. I want to be in this mess with you. Her voice cracked, laden with all the vulnerability she had fought to hide. Julian took a step back, the space between them acting like an invisible barrier. This isn't love, it's infatuation, he countered, the calculated cool of his expression faltering. Emily felt the heat of his rejection pierce through her. What do you mean? The pain began to seep in like ink on paper, blurring her thoughts with confusion. The bar's lights flickered again, casting fleeting shadows of ambiguity on his face. I don't know you yet, you've given me your heart. I can't. The sudden door swung open, and a rush of cold air invaded the heated space. A tall figure emerged, silhouetted against the neon lights outside. Emily's heart plummeted when she recognized the newcomer. It was someone from her past, a ghost she never thought she'd encounter here. What is going on? The newcomer demanded, eyes darting between Emily and Julian. The tension thickened, uncertainty thick as fog. Emily felt as if the ground had fallen out from beneath her. The moment teetered on the edge of chaos. What was she supposed to do now? She was caught between the man who seemed to embody every uncharted desire and the specter of her past returning to haunt her. The pulsating energy in the room ignited, promising that nothing would be the same after this. What was about to unfold? Secrets lay thick in the air, threatening to explode in ways she never expected. The bar's atmosphere shifted instantly. Emily's heart pounded louder than the music that played just moments before. She felt the heat rising to her cheeks as the eyes of strangers bored into her, whispers weaving through the air like smoke. The room grew smaller. There was only Julian, the figure from her past, and the fragile hope living in her chest. Is this some kind of joke? The newcomer asked, his voice laced with disbelief and anger. Dave, her childhood friend, turned nightmare. The last person she'd want in this moment. Dave, she breathed, the name tasting bitter on her tongue. This isn't not a joke, huh? Looks like you're having a romantic epiphany in a bar. He shot back, taking a step forward, eyes flaring. Julian's posture took on an edge, a protective stance. You should leave. The command was clear, but Emily could sense the uncertainty bubbling beneath it. Did you really think you could just ditch everyone and live a fairy tale? Dave continued, voice rising. The turmoil in his gaze stirred up old memories and resentments. You owe it to your friends to be honest about who you are. Anger flushed Emily's cheeks. What I owe is none of your business. She could feel the room shifting again, eager ears waiting for her to break. Then why have you spent the last year pretending to be someone you're not? Dave pressed, his voice low but cutting. You act like you're fine without us. But we know the truth. Julian reached for her hand, an anchor. Emily, don't listen to him, he murmured, but his confidence was faltering in the presence of her past. The crowd tightened around them, whispers morphing into a cacophony. Everyone was witnessing a runaway train, and she was the unwilling passenger. Is this what you wanted? Dave questioned, leaning closer. There was a twisted sense of triumph in his eyes, like a hunter savoring the moment before the kill. To hurl your heart at this mystery man? What did you even say to him? Did you confess your little secrets, or are you too scared to be real? That was it. The final straw snapped inside her. You think you know me, Dave? Her voice rose above the noise, sharp as glass. You don't have a clue. You're still the girl who ran away when the going got tough. Look at you. He gestured dismissively. Throwing yourself at Julian like he's your next escape plan. The air crackled as if lightning could strike at any moment. It felt like a battle was raging, two parts of her fighting for dominance, the version she had become and the one stuck in the past. Stop it. Just stop. Emily shouted, the noise around them fading into an echo. She turned to Julian, feeling the warmth radiate from him, finally accepting the truth. What if you're right? What if this is infatuation? The silence that followed felt deafening. A world of doubts opened up beneath her. Sometimes, you have to risk it all, Julian whispered, his voice low and steady, but an underlying tension hinted that his conviction was shaky too. If you want more than infatuation. Emily glanced back at Dave, whose expression had shifted from anger to a dark curiosity. You want to play games, Emily? You think he has the answer to your problems? She felt lost, torn apart by the forces colliding around her. The moment stretched, filled with unspoken possibilities and hidden truths. If one thing was clear, it was that the night had just begun to unravel, and they were all about to pay the price for the secrets they held. As the bar's lights flickered again, she realized this was going to be harder than she ever anticipated. What else could Dave reveal that could shatter everything she thought she knew? The tension thrummed like a taut wire, waiting to snap. And in that moment, she knew the choice before her was monumental. Would she stand her ground, or would she let the past claim her once and for all? Julian's grip tightened around Emily's hand. The crowd buzzed, their faces a blend of curiosity and judgment. She could almost feel them leaning in closer, waiting for the next blow to land. Dave stood like a wall between her and any chance of escape, challenging her with every arsenal of resentments he had gathered over the years. Is this how it feels? To be haunted by old ghosts? Emily thought, her heart racing. She felt both trapped and exposed, every secret unspooling like a thread in a frayed tapestry. This was a part of her life she wanted sealed away, collected in the dust of memories, and thrown away. But here it was, raw and unrelenting. You can pretend all you want, Emily, but we know who you really are. Dave taunted, his voice dripping with scorn. The edges of Emily's vision blurred, fatigue creeping in. I'm done pretending, she blurted out, surprising herself. The weight of her confession hung heavily in the air, swirling with the echoes of Dave's accusations. You think that's so brave? He sneered, stepping closer, his shadow looming over her. Bravery is facing your problems, not running away from them. Enough. Julian's voice boomed, slicing through the tension like a knife. He stepped in front of her, a barrier against her past. Julian's eyes burned with determination, and for the first time, Emily felt a flicker of safety. But even then, what was she truly safe from? Dave, what do you get from this? What do you really want? She pressed, her voice shaking but resolute. I want you to see that you can't just cut people out of your life and expect it to be okay. It doesn't work that way. He folded his arms defiantly, as if he had all the power. The bar had gone eerily silent, the patrons hanging on every word, like moths drawn to a flame. Emily was acutely aware of their eyes, the weight of judgment pushing down on her like a heavy weight. She felt the heat rise in her chest, but she refused to let the fire burn her. Maybe I don't owe you anything, she shot back, her voice rising above the whispers. Not anymore. Then what is he doing here? Dave pointed at Julian, a scornful edge creeping into his tone. What does he even know about you? Julian stepped closer still, his words steady. I know she is stronger than you think, and that past doesn't define her future. His resolve thrummed in the air, igniting something deep within Emily. Is that true? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Julian nodded, his gaze unwavering. You don't have to let it claim you. You can fight back. You just have to decide. The moment stretched, her heart humming in time with the anxious crowd. And suddenly, a glimmer of clarity pierced through her swirling thoughts. She realized they were waiting for her to break like everyone else from her past. I won tea, she murmured, feeling the strength of her decision solidify within her. I refuse to let this define me. The rumble of the crowd shifted, a wave of murmurs undeniable. But Dave's eyes flashed with something darker, a challenge igniting between them. You think this is just going to go away? He threatened. You want to stand up to your past? Good luck. The intensity simmered, wrapping around them like a thick fog. Julian tightened his grip, and for a brief moment, Emily felt elated. But underneath the elation lay an unsettling fear. Will he reveal more? She wondered. What else can he draw from the shadows? As the lights flickered overhead again, she sensed an impending storm, the kind that tore away facades and laid bare every raw emotion. There would be no easy escape, no fairy tale ending, and the price for facing her ghosts could be beyond what she had bargained for. Will standing here strengthen me, or will it shatter the only hope I have left? The uncertainty, sharp as a blade, cut through the moment. Breathing in, she prepared to confront whatever was coming next. Would she stand her ground and face the truth, or sink back into silence? The decision loomed like a storm cloud overhead, dark and inevitable. The room was thick with tension, a taut wire ready to snap. Emily felt her heart pounding against her ribcage like a desperate animal seeking escape. Julian's presence was her anchor, yet as she glanced up at him, his eyes flickered with a storm of emotions: defiance, concern, and something that almost resembled pride. "Don't let him get to you," Julian whispered, just for her. But as the words settled, she saw Dave's face contort with rage, and she couldn't help but tremble. "I just want the truth." Dave's voice ricocheted around the small bar, drawing eyes even from the dimly lit corners. She's hiding behind lies, pretending she can run from her past. He leaned closer, his breath hot on her face. "But you can't escape, Em. You know that." The crowd shifted restlessly, the electric energy hanging thick in the air. A whisper rippled through the patrons, and every glance felt like a spotlight shining on her deepest fears. The walls closed in, and Emily's chest tightened, but Julian stood firm. "What are you going to do?" he urged, his hand still firmly grasping hers. "Now is your moment. Don't waste it." She swallowed hard, feeling the lump grow in her throat. Could she really confront him? Could she reveal the painful truth buried deep within her? "It's not just about you and me, Dave," she finally responded, her voice steadier than she felt. "This is about my life. I won't be your punching bag anymore." His laughter was a cruel sound, dripping with contempt. "You think that is going to fix everything? This is just the beginning, Emily. You'll have to face your past eventually, whether you want to or not." Julian's grip tightened again, an unyielding promise of support. "And I'll be right here with her," he declared, his voice cutting through the uncertainty like a beacon. Shock registered on Dave's face, but it quickly twisted back into fury. "You think a few supportive words will protect her from the truth? You have no idea what she's hiding." With that, a wave of dread washed over Emily. The truth. What was he planning to unleash? Did she truly have the strength to face what lay ahead? "Why don't you enlighten us, Dave?" she challenged, shaking now, but driven by the impulse to confront her fears head-on. "What is so terrible that you need to drag everyone else into this? You want transparency?" Dave leaned in, his voice a low murmur just for her. "Fine. I'll lay it out there. You think your life is rebuilt? It's a wreck, Em. You messed up everything in your past and buried it. But secrets don't stay buried forever." The air crackled with tension, sharp as glass. Emily felt a cold sweat start to bead down her back. What if he revealed her secrets? The weight of her past loomed higher than she could fathom. "Let him speak," Julian urged, his voice filled with steadfast resolve. "You'll handle it. Trust yourself." But trust felt elusive. The thought of her past being laid bare sent shivers of fear coursing through her. Suddenly, the bar doors swung open, each creak magnified in the charged silence. A figure stepped inside, and all eyes turned to the entrance. Emily's breath caught in her throat as a familiar face emerged from the shadows, a face she thought she'd never see again. "Emily," the newcomer said, their voice echoing like a distant memory. "It's time we talked." As recognition hit her like a punch, all thoughts of standing strong faded. Who was this person, and what chaos would they stir in a moment already teetering on the edge? The unexpected twist coiled around her like a vice, darkening her resolve as possibilities played out in her mind. Could the unveiling of her history be the end or the beginning of a brand new fight? The newcomer stepped into the harsh light of the bar, revealing a face Emily recognized too well. It was Ryan, her former partner from a life she thought she had escaped. The world around her seemed to freeze, the voices of the crowd fading into a muted hum. All she could hear was the frantic thudding of her heart, echoing in her ears like an alarm bell. "Why are you here?" Emily managed to ask, her voice trembling, betraying her attempt to appear composed. Fear wrapped around her throat, tightening till she could scarcely breathe. Ryan's eyes scanned the room, landing on Julian and then back to Dave. "I came to find you," he said, his tone cutting through the tension like a knife. "Things have gotten complicated, and I didn't know where else to go." "Complicated? Is that what you call dragging your chaos back into my life?" Emily shot back, anger flaring momentarily as adrenaline surged through her. But beneath that anger lurked the remnants of nostalgia, the ghost of a relationship she had worked hard to bury. "Emily, please." His voice softened. "I need to explain." Dave sneered, clearly enjoying the turmoil this unexpected arrival had sparked. "Looks like you're past isn't done with you yet. This is rich." The prodigal ex returns just when things were getting interesting. Julian stepped forward, narrowing his eyes at Ryan. "You need to leave. This isn't your place anymore." "Julian, wait," Emily interrupted, a wave of uncertainty washing over her. "I need to hear what he has to say. Maybe it's something I need to face." The crowd shifted again, eyes darting between the three figures, eager for the drama unfolding before them. The tension coiled tighter. Julian's grip on her hand remained firm, but Emily felt the weight of her decision pressing heavily upon her. "What could possibly be so important that you'd come back now?" she demanded, trying to steady her shaking voice. "Don't you remember how we ended?" "I remember everything," Ryan yelled, his patience fraying. "I remember you, Emily. I remember who you were before you were strong, fearless. But you changed. You're not that person anymore. Maybe I changed because of you." She shot back, every word laced with the pain of memories she thought she'd outrun. The bar was silent, every patron hanging on their exchange, as if the room had been sucked of air. Julian's expression shifted to one of pure concern, the protective instinct flaring in his gaze. He turned to Emily, desperation creeping into his voice. "You don't have to do this. You can walk away." But as Ryan stepped closer, something in his demeanor shifted. "Emily, please. I'm not the same guy who hurt you. I'm here to help you face what's coming. I know about Dave, and I couldn't stand by while he uses your past against you." The chill in her spine tightened. Has he come to save her or drag her back to the sludge of memories she had fought to escape? Dave interjected, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, this just gets better and better. Did you come with a fairy tale ending, Ryan?" "Enough," Emily shouted, tears stinging her eyes as the walls closed in. "I'll decide what to do with my life, not you. You don't know the whole story." "Then let me tell it." Dave roared in anger, his frustration boiling over like a pot on the verge of spilling. "Let us see just how deep the rabbit hole goes, shall we?" Just as Emily opened her mouth to respond, a flicker of recognition hit her, a dark figure in the corner of the bar she hadn't noticed before. The looming presence set off alarms inside her. Who were they, and why did it feel like they had a stake in her secrets? The tension was palpable, each breath a battle, every glance a question. What other truths lay in wait, ready to unfurl in the spotlight? As the unexpected audience held its breath, Emily felt the ground beneath her shift, giving way to a tumultuous storm ahead. Would she find the courage to face the truth lurking in the shadows? Or would the ghosts of her past bind her more tightly than before? The air was thick with anticipation and waves of unease. Emily's heart raced as her eyes darted back to the shadowy figure that loomed in the dim light. The crowd seemed to stretch in time, waiting, wanting her next move more than she wanted to breathe. Emily Ryan's voice faded into the chaos, the weight of uncertainty pressing hard on her chest. "Who is that?" she whispered, partially to herself, partially hoping Ryan would know, but instead of an answer, Ryan's expression darkened, as if he had suddenly recognized the danger as well. "She's someone involved in all this. You need to trust me." We don't have time. Anger sparked through her veins again. Trust you? You think after everything, that's even an option? Her voice cracked under the pressure, and she cast a hurried glance at Julian, whose eyes seemed to urge her towards safety. Dave's laughter cut through the growing tension, a harsh sound that bounced off the bar's walls. What's wrong? Afraid the monster under the bed is going to get you? Before Emily could retort, the figure moved out of the shadows. A woman, tall and impeccably dressed, approached with a slow, deliberate grace. The murmurs from the crowd crescendoed as her presence commanded attention. Is this who you were waiting for, Ryan? The woman asked, her voice dripping with condescension. Rosalind, Ryan muttered, eyes narrowing. I see you've been busy, she continued, her gaze piercing through Emily and Julian. But perhaps you haven't fully thought through your reunion. There was a palpable tension, as if the bar itself held its breath. You don't belong here, Rosalind. This is my life, Emily retorted, barely glancing between Ryan and Julian, unnerved by the simmering conflict. Rosalind stepped closer, an unnerving smile playing at her lips. Oh, dear Emily, you have no idea how deep this goes, do you? You're tangled in something much bigger than you realize. Enough of this. Julian shouted, stepping in front of Emily, shielding her as if ready for a fight. The flicker of protection in his eyes warmed her heart but heightened the uncertainty churning in her stomach. Julian. Emily started, but her voice trailed off. She couldn't keep pushing them away. Not now. Not when danger lurked like a hidden beast. Let's cut to the chase, Rosalind interjected, her tone shifting to flat coldness. You're in the way, Emily, and if you want to protect yourself, protect your precious new life, you need to listen to what Ryan has to say. Will you just stop? You don't know me. You don't understand. Emily felt anger and fear mingling, creating a storm ready to explode. I understand that you're a pawn on a chessboard that's already set. They'll use you, Emily, just like they used me. Rosalind's gaze pierced through Emily, leaving her feelings raw and vulnerable. Behind her, an unsettling silence birthed itself, overshadowing the murmurs of the crowd. They could feel it, something terrible brewing beneath the surface. Then, just as Emily prepared to confront Rosalind head-on, a loud crash erupted at the back of the bar. Glass shattered, scattering shards like the broken remnants of her previous life. Everyone turned as shadows moved, their forms no longer concealed. The bar erupted into chaos, bodies running, drinks spilling as panic swelled. Emily stood frozen, the shivers racing down her spine. What was happening? Who was coming for her? Ryan stepped forward, grabbing her wrist. We have to get out of here now. But the crowd was already pushing toward the exits, screams erupting, drowning her thoughts. Emily hesitated, glancing between the chaos, Ryan, and Julian. Choose, Emily. We don't have time. Ryan shouted, desperation splattering his voice. As fear gnawed at her stomach, she took a breath, feeling the weight of decision crackle in the air. Which life would she save, the one she fought to leave behind, or the one still woven with secrets just beginning to unravel? Her heart hammered, leaving her with one burning question. Would she choose to flee into the unknown or confront the dangerous truth that had just exploded into her life? And could she even trust the very man she once loved, when everything she held dear was hanging by a thread? Emily's mind spun, a whirlwind of confusion and terror. The bar pulsed with energy, shifting like an ocean caught in a storm. Shadows darted in every direction as fear rippled through the crowd. Where was the exit? Could they escape this chaos? Emily. Julian's voice pierced the clamor, grounding her for a moment. He was still there, a steady presence amid the turmoil. We have to go now. Help me. Someone cried nearby, a woman tumbling to the floor amid the rush. The screams of the terrified drowned the vague chatter of people hiding. Emily's heart thudded, an urgent reminder to make a choice. Forget her. We can't help everyone. Ryan's grip tightened on her wrist, and his voice turned frantic. We need to go. Just then, Rosalind's laughter laced with malice drifted through the chaos. Run, little mice. But you can't escape the web that's already been spun. The mocking tone unsettled Emily. Who even is she? Julian shot a look at Ryan, his brows knit tightly as if he demanded answers. She's a player in a game we didn't know existed, Ryan snapped back, his frustration palpable. Trust me, both of you. Trust? Julian growled. You're serious? Look around, she's here, and she's not just a player. She's dangerous. Ryan shook his head, scanning the room. I know, but what choice do we have? We either leave together or his voice trailed off, swallowed by the rising shouts and scattering footsteps. Or what? Emily breathed, her heart pounding between them. The pressure built within her, awareness prickling like static electricity. Go to some dark corner and hope for the best? Go. Julian shouted, shoving her toward the nearest exit while pushing Ryan back to cover their escape. As they ran through the throng, Emily's pulse raced, surging memories colliding in her mind. Ryan's betrayal, Julian's unwavering support, Rosalind's ominous threats. She felt trapped, crumbling under the weight of all that had swirled around her. A sudden surge of bodies pushed her forward, but something pulled her back. It was like being caught in a riptide. There was no way to swim against it. She tried to turn to Julian, but he was lost in the tide. Emily, let us go. Ryan urged, his voice barely a murmur above the chaos. She didn't want to be with him. But the alternative, being lost, trapped, is this what it felt like to be caught in a game she never signed up for? As if reading her thoughts, Ryan pulled her closer. I know I hurt you, but we're out of time. You need to trust me. Now. She hesitated, confusion pulling her in two directions. The raging storm inside her mirrored the mayhem outside. Could she trust him through this madness, this betrayal? Before she could answer, the lights above flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The noise in the bar dimmed. A chilling silence engulfed the room, the air heavy with a sense of dread. From the corner, she caught sight of Rosalind, standing tall and poised, as others froze in their tracks. Looks like the fun is just starting. Rosalind's voice sliced through the stillness, each word laden with threat. Panic began to tighten again around Emily's throat. She could feel it choking her. What does she want from us? She's tied to everything, Ryan murmured, urgency drowning his usual bravado. And there's only one way to find out. By what? Giving ourselves to her? Emily shot back, disbelief flooding her words. Or by confronting her, he replied. We can't run forever. The tension solidified, sparking a choice deeper than mere survival. Would she confront her past and the tangled threads that now threatened to ensnare her future? Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from behind them, jolting her back to reality. Choose now, Emily. Before it's too late. Ryan yelled, his eyes blazing with intensity, caught between fear of the unknown and the terror of what she already faced. Emily's mind locked onto one thought. What would it cost to confront her truth? And as shadows moved and whispers danced around her, she realized her next decision could alter everything. Emily's heart thundered in her chest, a primal drumbeat that urged her to choose. Emily. Julian's voice cut through the air like a lifeline, but she couldn't see him. The crowd, once frantic, now felt eerie, as if they were all part of a bizarre performance choreographed by fear itself. Ryan's hand tightened around her wrist, pulling her with purpose toward the back. This way. He urged, his voice low but urgent. Each step was a struggle against the mass of bodies pressing in around her. Emily's chest tightened. What if she gets us first? We can't just follow you blindly. I promise, I want to let her. Ryan's eyes darted, searching the dim corners for any sign of Rosalind. Just stay close, please. As they plunged deeper into the bar's chaos, Emily's mind swirled with thoughts of betrayal. Ryan was the last person she wanted to trust. But where was the hope? Another bang from the stage whipped her head around. The lights blinked again, causing the shadows to shift and morph a twisted dance of terror. Then it happened, the throng parted as Rosalind stepped forward, a predator eyeing her prey. Can't you see? This is all a game. Rosalind's voice was sweet like poison. You think you can run, Emily? You're woven into my web now. Emily gasped, stumbling slightly as fear paralyzed her. Ryan's grip steadied her. We need to move. Now. As they turned to flee, Rosalind's laughter, cruel and mocking, filled the space behind them. It echoed in Emily's mind like a taunt, chilling and relentless. Where are you going, little mouse? The fun is just beginning. The escape route seemed endless, yet everything felt tighter. Time stretched. She wanted to scream for Julian, to find him, but Ryan was right. They had no choice but to keep pushing through the throng. Finally, they reached an emergency exit. The door was half ajar, a sliver of hope waiting just beyond it. Help me push, Ryan said, his voice a desperate whisper. Together, they shoved the door open, bursting into the cool night air. The sound of the city was muffled, lights flickered earnestly against the shadows that lurked behind every corner. They stumbled onto a deserted street. Emily turned, adrenaline surging in her veins. Where's Julian? Does it matter anymore? Ryan snapped, the panic rising in his voice. We need to find safety. I can't just leave him. Before Ryan could respond, a swift movement caught Emily's eye. There, in the distance, Julian appeared, sprinting toward them. Relief flooded her heart until she noticed the dark figure prowling behind him, a shadow, a presence. Rosalind. Go. Julian yelled, panic tearing his voice. She's coming. Emily's stomach sank. Their James Bond-style exit had turned into a wild chase through the underbelly of the city, but one thought thudded in her mind. If Rosalind caught them, it wouldn't just be the end of their escape, it could be the end of everything she cared about. Where now? Ryan cried. Anywhere. Emily shouted, urgency driving every word. They took off again, sprinting down the dimly lit block. But the shadows were closing in, weaving together through alleys like a blanket of darkness. Emily's breath caught in her throat, adrenaline fueled her fear, every echo a reminder that they were being hunted. Just as they rounded a corner, Ryan stumbled to a halt. Listen. Silence fell like a thick fog. The city that had felt so alive was now a ghost town, hushed and still. But then, the haunting sound of laughter pierced the air. Rosalind's voice slithered through the darkness, close enough to send chills racing down Emily's spine. Run, run, little ones. You might think you can escape, but I know this city too well. Emily's pulse raced, dread wrapping around her like a vice. The confrontation was inevitable, and they were running out of places to hide. Emily, Ryan began, but the only thing she could focus on was the way the shadows twisted and coiled around them, taunting their every move. Turn back. The command came without warning. Rosalind stood defiantly at the alley's end. The smile on her lips was sinister, confidence radiating from her. Time to face the reality of your choices. You'll need to choose faster, or I might just take someone else from you. Emily's throat constricted. The weight of her past was closing in, but if she didn't act now, it could cost them everything. Make your decision, Emily. Trust me, or trust him, and remember only one of us is here to protect you. Those words echoed, and the finality of the moment clutched at her heart. Would she finally confront the truth, or would she remain in the dark, tangled in the web? Emily stood at a crossroads, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The fear danced around her, swirling in an icy whirlwind as Rosalind's chilling smile cut through the suffocating tension. Memories clawed at her mind, both the ones of trust betrayed by Ryan and the raw connection she'd felt with Julian. The flickering lights of the bar behind her faded into echoes of uncertainty, darkness creeping back toward her like an unwanted past. Choose, Emily. Rosalind's voice rang out, sharp, demanding, and loaded with a menacing sweetness. Or risk losing everything. The air felt electric, crackling with urgency and the weight of expectation. Just accept it, Emily, Ryan urged, his voice steady yet panicked. We have to go, we can't let her win. He stepped closer, but the anger in Emily flared, forcing her feet to take root where she stood. "You're the one who hurt me," she shot back, the words tastefully bitter on her tongue. "I never wanted to hurt you. I want to protect you from this," he replied, desperation spilling from his eyes. "Rosalind is manipulating you. She thrives off your fear. That's rich coming from you." Emily spat, her anger boiling over like a pot left too long on the stove. "You think I would trust you after everything? You have to decide, Emily." Julian cried, stepping up beside her, the warmth of his presence igniting sparks of defiance within her. She locked eyes with Julian, the intensity of his gaze anchoring her amidst the storm. "What if I fail? What if confronting my past only drags me back into darkness? Then I'll be right there with you," he promised, his voice solid and unwavering, like a rock in the midst of chaos. "You are stronger than you think." The conviction in his words wrapped around her like a warm embrace, and somewhere within her, a flicker of hope ignited. "I don't have to stay trapped, do I?" she asked, more to herself than to anyone. Just as Rosalind opened her mouth to spew another stream of venom, Emily interrupted her. "You don't own me, Rosalind. I refuse to be a pawn in your game or anyone else's." Rosalind's smirk faltered, her facade cracking under the weight of Emily's resolve. The shadows around them seemed to shift, the city momentarily holding its breath. "Then face the consequences," Rosalind hissed, her fury bubbling just below the surface. "You don't know what kind of game you're playing." Brian inhaled sharply, his face stark against the dim light. "We're calling the shots now. No more running and hiding. Or negotiating," Julian added, taking a step forward, his brows drawn together in determined defiance. "What will it be, Emily? Keep running from your demons, or finally confront them?" Rosalind's words dripped with malice, but Emily felt her own power surging in response. "I choose to confront them." The words tumbled from her mouth, strong and true, breaking the chains that had held her captive for far too long. Rosalind's confident exterior cracked. "You're making a mistake." "No," Emily declared, an exhilarating rush coursing through her. "You're the mistake." With that declaration, a shift occurred, releasing an energy in the air that charged everything around them. Rosalind stepped back, a frown deepening on her brow as she miscalculated the gravity of Emily's choice. "Enough with the games." Julian stepped beside Emily, his presence like a lighthouse beacon guiding her through the storm. "You don't get to dictate her life." The tension grew thick like smoke in the air, almost tangible. Rosalind's mask of control slipped, revealing a flicker of frustration. "We'll see how brave you feel when the real shadows come knocking." Emily's heart raced at the warning, but she was ready. "I'll face whatever comes next. You can't scare me anymore." With that, Rosalind's calculate demeanor shattered, and she surged forward, but Julian was quick, blocking Emily's view. "Stay back," he shouted, his voice ringing like a steel bell. "Let us go," Ryan urged, and with newfound strength, Emily shifted, rushing to Julian's side. They ran down an alley that twisted and turned through the city, the chaos behind them fading into a distant memory, their hearts pounding a frantic rhythm against the quiet street. As they emerged into a wider area, they could finally breathe. Julian and Ryan flanked Emily, and the air felt lighter, as if miles of weight had evaporated. "We made it," Ryan gasped, inhaling deeply. Together, Julian added with warmth in his eyes, anchoring her with strength once more. Emily smiled, the warmth expanding in her chest. Together. But the night's battle was not over, and shadows still loomed. She felt that undeniable pull of fear, but it was emboldened by her resolve. She was ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing she wouldn't be alone. As they turned to face what came next, Emily knew this was not the end. It was the beginning of reclaiming her power, her voice, and her future. "Now, it's time for you all to step into action. You need to subscribe to the channel immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and ensure we keep creating the content you love. Flood the comments section with your wild reactions and theories about the dramatic conclusion we just witnessed. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this final showdown. Your support matters more than you know. Let us keep building this amazing community together.